MEQuest. Mentorship with care.
So there are different things in Automate. You can also build more amazing applications where it has to follow some form of, I have some applications here that I can share with you much later, where there is different processes, right? So if it gets to this department, the app is going to mirror that it's currently in this department. And then when it gets to another department, so Automate is actually what makes our Power Apps to be beautiful and to work amazingly like the normal Android app. So we'll dive into the class for today. So the first, I'll show you how I got the count, because we have very short time in our training. So the best thing is for us to review, for me to review and I'll review the code and explain what it's doing. So when you're working on your own particular applications, you can be able to replicate the same thing. So for the count, if you look, it's very simple. All I did here was to use the count row. So once you start typing like this, you see that there are a lot of, it's just like your Excel. You have different functionalities, but what I need here is the count rows. Then when you'd say count rows, you need to specify the gallery that you want this particular row to count. So if I say, let me say the name of, I'll look for the gallery list, ticket gallery list. It's hidden actually, but I'll reveal it and then I'll show you how I got it. So the ticket gallery list dots, and then when you put dot, is asking what do you actually want to count. I just want to count all the items there, and you close it, it will give you the number. Now the ticket gallery list, I actually made the visibility to be, I don't want it to be visible, right? So I'm actually picking from this particular list. But if you're working with different, let me say you want to, if you're in the dashboard, let me say I'm still here, and I want to count maybe a list, that same list, but the list is not something that will be visible for people to see, right? You can actually insert the list here and then make it hidden. Like I can connect this my gallery. This is the gallery all of us know. We all know this gallery. So it's just to put the gallery and connect it to the list so that it will bring all our stuff. And then I'll need to rename. Let me see if I rename this one to gallery to count list, gallery to count tickets. Let me see tickets. Remember, the name is gallery to count ticket. For the other list that is currently counting is hidden from this form, so it's somewhere else, right? But if I'm working with something, maybe I filter the gallery based on resolved ticket or not resolved ticket. This is what I'll do. So I have the name of this particular gallery to be gallery to count ticket. I can make it hidden because I don't want people to be able to see it, because it doesn't even make sense here. I will make it hidden by going to the property and then unchecking the visibility of that particular gallery. And then I'll come back to my counts, and then I'm going to say count rows, and then I'm going to put the name of that gallery, and I'll put all items, and then it's going to give me 14, because this particular gallery, if you count the total number, it's actually 14. So if you count down, it's 14. So if you're working with if you're working with maybe large data sets, like up to 2000 at least, you can be able to also count. So there are some applications where I've built where it can count and also perform percentage of resolved tickets or tickets that are not resolved, just so the team knows the kind of progress they are making, right? So that's how to make count. If you want to include dashboard like this, because my gallery, I just deleted the gallery, it wasn't recognizing it. So I'll go back to ticket gallery. I can just leave this one. I'll just make it hidden so no one sees it. All right. So if you're building applications like this, maybe you're building something that has to do with inspections, or you're building something that has to do with where you can take statistics of the total number of sales recorded or purchases in a day, right? Or if you're going to be working with, there are some massive applications where you build a kind of system where people just upload different files. And once they upload it to the database or to your list, there's an automate that is going to read what you actually scanned or uploaded, and then it will take content from your scanned document, and then it will fill in a particular list. So if you want maybe count of total uploaded files for that particular day, all you need to do is to count the rows for the day. You just filter where the date, where created date is equals to today. So those are little stuff when you're going advanced. But for the main stuff in this type of system, it's more of you using the count rows, right? Then the next one is how to work with if statement. Now, if is very important in most of the things you're building. If you're going to be building in-house applications like this, you need to understand if statement, because for you to be able to make things a bit different from what every other one is doing, you need to understand that by the time you start integrating different colors, it will make your work beautiful, right? So just like I implemented, if it's a completed task, it should be green. If it's in progress, it should be yellow. If you're working with maybe specified color, you can put, I showed us how you can put color codes the other time, but I just wrote yellow, and then it was able to give me yellow, green, this is actually dark green, then dark blue or whatever it is, and red. So how I got this is the same way you can get I and get the priority, I, critical, normal, low, and all that. And it's the same way you can get every other stuff you're building based on what you actually want to build for your firm. If you're building maybe a solution for airports, your solution, you can use colors to indicate maybe inbound flights and outbound flights. We get, so there are a lot of power apps around most of the big organizations we see, but we just don't know it. Not everybody depend on third-party applications, considering now that there are so much cyber attack and all that. So everyone try to build and keep their data to themselves. That's more reason why tasks or skills like this is now like an in thing, or in the next 4-5 years, it will be like one top stuff. So just to get our icon, I'll increase this and I'll show you what I did. I worked with just one icon, like it's just a box. It's just, I can insert, okay, I'll insert one more. I'll insert a green one this time. Remember I told us in the last class that when you're designing your gallery, you work with just the top gallery. So whatever you do on the top gallery would reflect on the other list, right? After the top one. So if I'm going to be inserting this box, I actually said insert triangle, so rectangle, so it actually got in the gallery. So I'll bring it here because I want to showcase something. Now, the default color of this is actually blue, right? And for you to get this color, you come to your fill, right? Your fill is where it will indicate this particular color. Is either you're doing it in your fill with the color code, or you're using the color here to make it whatever it is. So if you change it here, it will reflect. But actually, I don't even want blue. What I want is that I want to be able to control it just like the way I controlled this one. And then I'll be able to get the exact color. So all I need to tell this is that I don't want this color. This is my box, but I'm telling the box that I actually don't want this blue color. It's fine, but I don't want it. And I just want to put a statement. This a bit, it's not too deep, right? But if you understand, at least if, I think the highest you can actually get in making beautiful interfaces in Power Apps is if you can understand if statement, at least first, because I'll show you one more thing quickly, just this one. If you look at this, it will be very difficult. To be honest, you won't even see up to 5 solutions out there that use Power Apps to build a document management system like this. But now, how I got this icon is what is important to me. For me to get the icon of the PDF and then the Word icon and then the Excel is the same if condition. And a bit, I know the if condition will be a bit to be AV, but I'll just quickly show you. So if you look at this, all I have said here is if the extension of the document ends with .docx, it should actually make the image to be Word. If it ends with this, it should also be Word. If it is doc, it should be Word as well. So I've taken all the possible extensions of doc and is Word. For PDF, the same thing. And these words that are here, telling it what to do is actually the name of the image. So if you click here, all my image files, if I click on this one, it's actually in the image. So I have already uploaded all the images I'll be working with under the media, and you see the name. You see? So I have Word, I have Excel, I have PPT, I have text. So I've just used if statement to be able to manipulate this icon. So this is also a trick. Like I said, I'll concentrate more on teaching you trick on how I do my solutions to look great. So I'm going to say if this item, I remember I told you if you want to get the item of that gallery, you say this item. So I'll say if this item dot, now I'm working with the status, not the priority. The priority is where we have high, low, normal, and the rest. But the status is where we have completed, we have in progress, we have other stuff. So I'm going to say if status dot value. If it's a text box, there's no need for value, right? But because it's not a text box, it's something that when you're trying to fill in the status of a particular task, you need to toggle between, like you need to use a drop-down list to tell it if it's completed, in progress, or if you won't fix it at all. We already discussed this in the last class, hopefully. Hopefully we can remember or recall. So if we have this item dot status plus dot value. So value means the particular item. If the value is equal to, remember it's a text, so I'm going to put it in double quote, so a string. So if it is equals to completed, you need to get the exact value because you're trying to tell this particular field what to do. So if it's completed, I'll say green. That's dark green. It means you put color to dark green. If you put green, it will give you the suggestion. So if you want just normal green, you're going to just put green. If you don't know the green, you can put the RGB code, right, of that particular color. So I'm telling this particular statement that if this item, the status is equals to completed, please don't waste time. Just make it green for me. Else, you can make it black or gray. I think I'll use gray. And if this is spelling of gray, I should get, okay, dim gray, and then I'll close it. So if you look, every item that is completed is green. The ones that is not completed is in progress. The same thing with new is actually not green, is gray. Won't fill is not also green, is in gray. Now, what you need to do, this is another trick, but it's something that is already possible. What you're trying to do is that in the rest of the code after green, if it's not green, every other thing should be dim gray. But I actually don't want that, right? What I need to do is that Okay, if it's green, let it be green. If it's not green, I want to add another if statement, right? So I'm going to say if the same, it's like having another if in it. I'm trying to make it sound like English instead of coding so we don't get scared. So I'm just saying again, if this item, that's the rest of the item, dot status, dot what value, if the rest of it dot value is equal to in progress, in, I need to put in status, in progress, comma, it will be yellow this time, right? It should be yellow. Color dots. I don't know what green yellow is. Do you know what green yellow is? I'll try it. Maybe something like lemon. Green yellow. Else it should be gray. Now, if you look at the code, when you're typing, you see that when you have an addition, you see one small red something there. It means that this syntax is not correct. When you see that, at least it's even giving you an hint to know that you needed to add something. So if you look at the code, we have two if statements, but in the closing bracket, we have one. So we need to close it. Now, why I'm stressing to tell you this is because if we get to a point where we put like 5 if statements, we need to indicate to close all these, the whatever it is, else it won't work properly. So if you look at our statements, we now have lemon, we now have other things. So with this same syntax or whatever it is, I can still continue and say if it's won't fix, make it red. And then when I'm done, you can leave your code like this, or you can format the text. So there's also, if you look at the screen, you'll see that there is a format. Let me see if this can, it's not even increasing. Let me see if the browser itself will increase. Oh, okay, good, it's increasing, but it's not fine. Okay, so in this, if you look at this icon, if you can see it, the part that has you to code, you can actually format the text. But the drawback with this is that if your code is not correct or complete, you won't even have the privilege to format the text. I used to interpret this as them trying to tell me, what are you even bothered about formatting when your code is not even right? That's how I feel. So, but if your code is correct, you'll see that the format text will be visible for you to click. And when you click, you will see the completed code. I'm trying to draw this so that you see. So you see, the statement is not correct. Like if this item, the status of value is complete, green. You're continuing again. If it's in progress, green, yellow. I don't know what is green, yellow. Let me just use the love. Yes, yellow. I can still continue again and write another if statement. You don't need to write everything. You can copy this, and then in place of the continuation of my first statement, I can put another if, but you need to be careful. So you make sure you're getting it right. So I have if this. I won't use progress. Let me say won't fix. Let me see what new, good, new. If it's new, if the status is new, it should be blue. Let me say blue. Okay. So you see, in new part, we now have blue. So this is just the trick behind making things colorful. With this, you can be able to implement the same process in high, low. I have some app where if the target is met, you will see green good. If it's not met, you will see red X. Is just what you do, right? So the next thing I'm going to show us now is how to make icon shape, or the same thing, right? You can change it, you can change the icon, or I think this same thing is what you use in making your shape, colors, and all that. So the next one will be how to sort and filter. Okay, so the screen looks too big for me. I'll bring it down a bit. Okay. All right, so now I don't need this box, right? Yeah. So the next thing now is, how do I make, I've already told us that all we need to do if we want to get this gallery, we bring everything from the database. But then each applications now, remember you're competing with the real world application, and most of our applications, especially things like this, have where you can search for items. You can also filter item. So for you to be able to filter item, you need to select on the gallery, right? And then I'll explain the code for us as well. And it's good for us to understand how it works. All right. So I'll click on normally, if I say this thing should just bring the tickets, it should just be ticket system, it will definitely work, to be honest, right? If I say this is a gallery, I've already arranged how I want each of it to be, but just bring the ticket system, it will work. But what I want to do is that I actually want to, for example, if I want to sort it based on the date it was created, then I need to add something for sort. If I want to filter based on the text that is in this text box, then I need to use filter. So that's how I get this my code. Let me say I just want to sort. Let me just say I want to sort. If I want to sort, of course, we know what sort means. Descending and ascending. I could sort alphabetically. I could sort maybe based on the date created, or if it's inspections, I can sort based on the most recent inspection. If it's something that has to do with inventory, I can search based on the item that is old or is expired, right? Where expiry date, like I can just do different types of sorting. So in this case, I can just start with my sort. Now you need to tell this gallery what it's actually trying to sort, right? And then I can say, I'm actually trying to sort the ticket system. Then I need to decide, I need to ask what actually it's trying to sort. If I say tickets, please mute. Okay, I can say, okay,
తర్వాత పిల్లలు కదా మరి అంత సిగ్గున్నప్పుడు ఆర్మీలోకి వెళ్ళి వేసుకుని రాపో.
okay. All right, so I can also, I'm sorry about that. I can also indicate like sort ticket system. I can also indicate like, what do I want to sort? So I need to tell the system. The last class I also showed us that if you look at when you're typing your script, you'll see some suggestions, because I always feel that Microsoft know not everyone will be a programmer to be able to do this thing. So they normally guide, even in your Excel, you always see people to guide you. So what you need to do is, when you indicate, you can now say you want to sort the created date. Now, if you're working with SharePoint, you see that I'm actually working with SharePoint. You'll see that there's a default column for created by, the date it was created, and then by whom any particular stuff was created, right? So if I check, I'm going to say created, and then the created is actually coming. So the created is actually for us to check how we want the sorting order to be, right? So if I'm going by name, I'll just say, okay, maybe alphabetically or anyhow, like alphabet, like name descending, it will definitely start the name from maybe A, B, C, D, descending, it will start from Z. So I can say created by, and I can say, comma, sort order. Sorry. Okay. You can so you can now see that the created, you can say sort order. You want to tell the system if it should sort the created date by descending or ascending. And I can just say sort order, then it will be descending. Okay. Descending means it should start from the previous day. The reason is, if it's a support system, I think it will make sense for us to start concentrating on people who sent support ticket previous date. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to close my bracket. Now, now that my code, if you look, when the script wasn't correct, I couldn't even click this format text, like I told you, right? So, but now that the system is understanding that, okay, this is correct, I can now format my text. Formatting the text will make you understand what you're actually doing, to be honest. So if you look at the code now, we have the sort, we have the ticket system, and then we have the created. So the created is actually the date. And if we look at our system, if we try to play it, we'll discover that the ticket that was created on the 28th of October is actually listed before the one that was created on the 7th of 9 is what? What date is even this? Let me see. Okay, date 10th of 3rd of October. What kind of format is it? 3rd of October is actually more than 9th of August, right? That's it. I look at my list. Let me see my SharePoint list. But actually, that's the sorting format. So back to our table. Now, I've been able to sort it, but if I want to make the search instead of sorting, you can sort and search at the same time, as our code actually have the sorting and the filter. So what filter does is it will do the same thing, but it's just going to find a particular text in your search item. So in this code, let me see. I can start with filter. Just need to explain, and that will be it. So if we filter, I don't know how, if you guys are seeing it. If you use the keyword filter, it will ask you the table, you put the table. Then what I'm trying to filter is this search text.text, which is this text box. If you look at this text box, the name is actually search text. So search text.text, if whatever we write on that text box, if it's in the name of that particular support ticket, it should filter. After filtering, the next thing that should happen is actually to sort it, right? So these are the basic stuff we can do in search. We can also do the same thing when you start going advanced. When we start going advanced, we can now start sorting based on drop-down list and so many other things, right? So that's how we got that. Another thing, revealing user information. Now, this particular app, you see that even from the home page, we have this person. If my picture was actually on this tenant, you see my profile picture. But for now, I didn't upload picture, but my name is there, my email is there. Don't take this image seriously. It's just a demo email. It won't do anything for you. All right, so that's why I'm exposing it. So you can actually input the user face. It could be a system where you want to actually showcase the person who actually took the inspection or inventory, or if it's a visitor app, maybe you build a app where like your organization launches an iPad and puts it in front of your entrance for visitors to clock in, right? So you can also bring out people's images based on the image that was uploaded or what it was captured, right? You can also make your Power Apps to capture automatically. You can do anything with Power Apps, trust me. So how to reveal this information is that you click on the image. This is just an image, like, right? You just input an image. I showed us the other time. And then when it's time for you to showcase the image, instead of uploading here, instead of uploading on this image part where we normally go there and select what we actually want to upload, you just write a simple code that is going to just leverage on the user information. So user already is by default, we have the user, the display name, and also the email can always come by default. But if you're actually building a app that is more robust, then you can start using the Office 365 user. You can use their photo if you can see. you can actually get Office 365 information if you connect your tenant to, if you connect your building, your whatever you're working in your data, if you've already imported your Office 365 account, then you can actually bring in. Imagine building an app where even the manager of every staff can be called upon just because the user is using the system. And then if you're building a system that has to follow a solution that has to follow maybe approval, you can invoke that particular staff, the manager, and then you can send flow for approval. So that's just how you manipulate stuff. So if you click on, if for instance, my intention was not to show you about the Office 365, because most of us will be using the demo tenant that we provided for you. So you wouldn't want to go this far. But if you're actually using Office 365, link to it, you can say dot, and then you see different things that actually you can be able to invoke with this particular Office 365. And it can be able to tell you anything to bring out. You can say, let me say display name. I don't even know who my manager is. It would be nice to know. So, but you can invoke, we don't have those functionalities now. But for now, all we have is that we can leverage on the default. Of course, every app, every user should be able to see their display face and all that. So we just do that easily by user. You put your parentheses and then you put your dot and then you display what you want to put. You can either display anything, but because it's an image, of course, if I put in email here, it won't make sense, right? It doesn't even make sense. So I'm trying to invoke the user image and then it will invoke. If I have an image here, it will definitely show. So the same thing is what I've done here, right? That's the same thing I've done here for the full name, and that's the same thing I've done here for the email. When I show you where you can see different controls, that's the best part of this particular class is forget what I've built here. When you start thinking of what you want to build, I'll show you where you can see all the controls. But just bear in mind that no matter what you see, you need to understand each controls and then understand the property. So that's how to review informations. The same thing I've done here is the same thing you can do on any list, right? I can go quickly to a particular list and I'll be able to know the person that actually submitted this one. If you look, this is the person that submitted it. It was created by this lady, and because it's created by her, I was able to invoke this item. Because I'm in display mode, I remove it. All right. So I'll be able to, if you click here, you see what I've done. I've said this item dot assigned to this person is not the creator. This is whom the support system assigned to. So if I want to make the creator, I actually thought it's a creator. I'll just say created by, which is a normal default at a default field that comes with SharePoint list, right? So I can say created by dot display name. And once I do that, the person that created this list, this particular support ticket will be here. So if it's for inventory and inspection, any person that actually put in the inspection for that day, any supervisor, you can invoke their name. So when you're making your report, everything will be there. So that's how to reveal information. I put it back to assigned to, because the idea is for us to see who this particular app is assigned to. Also, one more trick. I'm trying to put assigned to first, the display name. Now, one more trick is that you can actually filter for some applications where there are some applications that have made where if you get into a list like this, any list that is not assigned to you, you can't see the person's information, like you can't see the support, right? So even if it's other stuff, maybe it's a collaboration kind of team app or site app, any member that is not part of your site will not be able, like you can't even see people's maybe other team activities, right? So all you need to do is to write some hidden field that it can be able to capture either the theme or the name, and then you start saying if this particular text does not tally with the created by or the theme name, it should hide by default. So with that, when people come to the app, this is even additional part of security, I would say. So moving forward, this at least, if we had all the time, we would definitely want to go very deep, to go deep, and also to go through modern driven app. But we have 3 more weeks, and we need to cover Power Automate. We'll be covering Power Automate in our next class, start to finish, hopefully. And then with that, you can be able to understand how when someone, if I assign a particular task for someone in the support team to fix, they can be able to get an email and also get something called deep linking and get the link to that particular item. So they just click on it and then they see the information of the support ticket and they try to respond to it or whatever they do, and then they can come here and update it and say, okay, these tasks have been fixed, right? And then a report will be generated based on it, and then we can flag the report back in our support system. So that's the end of our Power App class, and that's actually more of Canvas. We didn't touch modern driven. In our next bootcamp, we're hoping that we'll have just one for Power Apps, and we're going to touch all corners of Power Apps from the beginning and to the advanced. That will be next one. Plan for that. This particular queue, this is actually a slider. This is an example of a slider. If you insert a slider, it will not do anything special, but you need to control it. So I've been able to tell this slider to do something funny for me. And how I did it was still to use if. And this is a normal slider that anyone can insert. You can insert a slider from here. You just go down, you can search for slider, and then you see your slider icon, your slider, whatever, it's an input you can put. So all I've showed this slider is that if this item dot status dot value is new, it should be in 0. If it's in progress, it should be in 50, which is this. And if it's completed, it should be 100, right? All I needed to know is just to have a track of the status of my stuff. To get the status of my stuff, either it's completed or is in progress, or if I won't fix it, right? So you see the second one, if I click on the second one, laptop freezing, right? I care about it, but I just don't want to fix it. And I'll come here and then I'll say the status, I won't fix it, like I'm just not interested in fixing it. Maybe I'm having a bad day and I don't want to fix it. So if you look, the freezing laptop, actually put it update, sorry, not this freezing, where's the freezing? Oh, because I say I won't fix it, look at what happened. It actually moved to another table because this is my table. I've already set it that only normal and I should be here. Normal I should be here. Why anything that is won't fix and completed should be here. So my fake license, whatever it is not, I won't fix, I've decided not to fix it. And so it's here, right? Then if I say I'll click on it. If I say maybe it's in progress and I update it, it will get off here and it will come back to my queue. See? So all I did was this thing is just little manipulation, and the secret behind all the manipulation is just know how to use your if statement, right? How to make single if, how to make nested if. You can be able to control everything. I can make if that will make this form to be editable, and I can use if to make it in a way that it will just be in the view mode, right? The same, this one here, this bell here, I used count. So if we go here, the idea is this will actually open your eye to different applications you can build. So this is a very small text box, and all I've done is it should count the new progress ticket gallery. It should count the new tickets gallery. So with this, I believe, I'm just trying to believe, at least when we do the next section, in the power section, I think I will not have to start from scratch, or I'll start from scratch for maybe the first 2 classes just for new people. But everyone that is here that have been with us for like the first class and those that are following from the YouTube and asking questions, they're not here. I believe that we can be able to do even more, because this is like the easiest application I have. And this is like the easiest anyone can do. And we can start building something more complex from this level. So, all right. So now let's assume that you started making maybe some solutions, and you actually want to learn a lot of things about the Power Apps. So now, of course, Microsoft, they're very loving and they like helping their people. So they always have the learn.microsoft.com, where you can learn anything from start to finish. Not everyone can learn on their own. Some would definitely need mentors like us to guide them through. But for those ones that are very, very good in writing stuff by them, learning stuff by themselves, you can actually come to this https learn.microsoft.com, and then you're going to see different solutions. So for me, if maybe I want to do something with a particular controller, I don't know how to do it, I'll come to this particular app. I'll quickly put it on a chat. Where can I see that? You can copy it and then keep it somewhere to refer to. Okay, that's it. Good. All right. So with this, you can be able to learn anything. If you look, the controls that are available, you can add picture, you can put address inputs, right? You can put checkbox, columns, and everything. And anyone you click, you should be able to see how it works. Like for screen control, you can be able to do different types of things in the screen. You can stream video. Imagine, this even tells you what Power Apps can do. Power Apps can even work with 3D objects. It can work with web barcode scanner, though it's on the experimental stage. It means you can build an app that can just scan, and then a list is populated. You can work with timer. Of course, timer is what we use to do. There are some app where I can, like, it times. It just, once you look at the app, you can see the current date and time. Of course, you know that currently in Power Apps, you can't get any control that will just give you the current date and time. It can give you correct date and time, of course, but for timing time, for it to be reloading per second like time, you actually need to use timer, so it can refresh every second and then change it's just a trick behind it. So many people don't know. For slider, I think I missed one. But this slider, you can actually specify a value of dragging, of whatever it is, dragging maybe to 5 or 100. I think is in our app as well. I'll quickly show us. So I have so many tabs open. That brings us to the end of our class. We should not forget that the Microsoft Learning platform is very important for us to learn more things as much as we can learn. This site is where I've been able to know a lot of things. I know about how to add even pen input. Like there are some applications that I've made where you have to give the iPad to the visitor and then the sign with, like, they just sign with the pen and it's there. You can actually preview applications in PDF. You can actually use your mic, you can use your camera, you can use so many things, right? You just need to start with the application, try to know what you want to build something, and then when it's time to make it more functional and beautiful, we're going to send, if you need us to support and guide, you can send an email to info@mequest.com, and you definitely get a response where you can choose the time that is convenient for you against the time that is convenient for us, so we can have a meetup.